Hello, everybody. Welcome back to MasterAdvisor. I know it's been a few weeks since we last did one of these, and I'm really excited to be back. Today is July 24th, 2025. We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence today and how it relates to your marketing, how it can save you time. We have sort of a hands-on session planned, so we're going to hopefully run through as many tools as we can, get you some practical advice, get you some things you can implement in your business right away once we wrap up here today. But I have a few announcements I want to make, and then I really want to just jump right into it because I know there's a lot to get to. First of all, thank you everyone who was able to reschedule this and hang with us over the last week. Really just unfortunate last week we had an illness, but we're so happy to be able to be back this week and to get everyone back here. So thank you so much again for your patience. I know so many people are already in the chat, but the chat is open, and as we go along today, we're going to be grabbing some comments and questions. So if anything's relevant, I think this is going to be a lively chat today because we are going to be fairly hands-on. Please drop your questions and comments in the chat, and we'll use them as best we can through the next 45 minutes or so. Our next episode is going to be live on August 14th, so that is 3 weeks away about. We're going to be talking group travel. I know it's a little bit away. We're going to market that throughout these next 3 weeks, but I think we have a link we can drop in the chat now if you are interested in group travel. If you are free August 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern time and you'd like to join us, we would love to have you. Please go ahead and register the link that Tom dropped in the chat just now. And then the last comment I have is I know already that there's going to be a lot of questions in the chat about rewatching this session because we're going to be getting to a lot of information. We're going to be hosting this video on YouTube. It's going to be up later today or tomorrow morning. As soon as we can, we'll get it up. If you are interested in rewatching it, that's going to be the home of it. It's the home of all of our video content for MasterAdvisor and a lot of other things we do with Travel Market Report as well. So if you are interested, I think Tom dropped that link in the chat as well. Yep, you can go ahead and jump over there, sub to the channel, like all the videos. It really helps us grow that channel, grow this community. So bookmark that page because I really have a feeling this is going to be an episode we're going to want to rewatch, and we're going to want to go through at your own pace when you do have the time. All right, so with that all out of the way, I'm really happy to welcome today's guest who's going to help us sort of walk through all these tools. I'm really happy to welcome Rita Perez today to MasterAdvisor. Rita is the founder of Take the Helm, LLC, which is a marketing and strategy and consulting firm. Rita, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but I know most of your work is within the travel industry. I know you have a lot of familiarity with marketing, with sort of the tasks that advisors need to do day to day. But thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, thank you so much for having me and being so accommodating as well. So, caveat, I have cough drops and things on standby just in case we need them. But hello, everybody. I am based in sunny Orlando, Florida. I've been in the industry for almost 15 years in a couple different capacities, but I am helping travel advisors with their marketing efforts and building their businesses. My voice may sound a little bit familiar because you may know me as the host of the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur podcast. And I've been talking about AI for quite some time now when it relates to marketing. So I am really excited to dive into our conversation today. This might feel like drinking from a fire hose. So as long as it's okay with Dan and the TMR team, I'm okay if you need to take any screenshots to practice the step by step as we go along. But yeah, I'm super excited to be here and cannot wait to dive into all the different ways that you can use AI and really maximize both your time and efforts so that you're not having to restart from the hamster wheel every time you're marketing your agency.
Yeah, and I know Rita, you joined our travel marketplace on the River show last year.
Yes.
I know we got a lot of great feedback from that, so we're really excited to have you. Usually, I like to sort of set the stage for these conversations. I in my head, I would have asked you why is this important, where AI is in Travel Advisor's toolbox. But I think there's just so much information to get to. I think the conversation around AI has been really consistent in the industry over the last, I'd say, 12 to 18 months. So I just want to kind of jump right into it, if that's okay with you, Rita.
Perfect, because I know we've got a lot of ground to cover too. So this won't be like a 101. This, if you need to learn a little bit of the basics, feel free to reach up. We're jumping in.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first thing I want to talk about is repurposing content.
Yes.
I know advisors are constantly looking for material to use in their marketing. I know the amount of channels you kind of have to serve now as a travel advisor
Right.
can be overwhelming. Um, let's talk a little bit about that, about repurposing content, why advisors should prioritize this, and then sort of how they can use these tools as a time saver, increasing their reach, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, repurposing content, one, it's just going to save you tons of time. I also like to say that it saves you brain space because you're not having to start from square one. And one of the good things about that too is I think it's the old adage of like it takes 7 to 12 touch points for somebody to convert from just like a lurker on social media or on your email list into an active paid client. We're kind of seeing in a lot of the data recently that it's taking even longer because travelers and just buyers in general are more discerning of like how people are marketing, and they have their spidey senses that are out there.
Yeah.
So the more that you reiterate certain things, the more it positions you as an expert in the type of travel that you sell. And then also there's some people who have like come to you or like found you in different marketing channels at different like stages in their buying process. So they may not have heard certain things before, or even like for myself too, sometimes it takes like that 7th, 10th, 15th. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've heard this person say this so many times, but finally it clicks. So it just helps you. I think, like, especially when you're repurposing content, I remember when I was doing a lot more work on the agency side, people would come to me like once they were ready to go ahead and purchase and work together, they were like, "Oh yeah, I heard you say that here, or I heard you say that there." And so it just also makes your life a lot easier when you're repurposing content. And I love being able to use AI tools for this because if you've already gotten a content bank under there, so if you are sending out emails on a regular basis to your clients, if you're writing up blog posts, which is great for a lot of different reasons for your business, you can repurpose this content. You can even repurpose video content now into multiple different uses. So, like, for example, if we are needing to make an email series, this is not necessarily that you're repurposing, but you're kind of maximizing. So let's say that you're going on a fam coming up. I know there's lots of fall and winter fams that are coming up here, and you're wanting to hype people up about what it is you're about to experience. You can put into an AI, hey, I'm sailing on this itinerary, or I'm going on this itinerary with this tour partner. Here's the link to it. When you're able to add links, that kind of like maximizes your search because then the AI is able to like get all the details of this particular tour, this particular cruise that you might be on, and pull out the information. But you have to be extremely detailed. I think like that's the other fine tuning when it comes to repurposing and creating content with AI, is that you have to be super specific. You can't just say, I want a 4-part email series on African safaris for retired business executives. You have to put in a little bit more, like, I know I'm going to love these parts. I know I'm not so interested in these parts. So being really specific when you're prompting AI, I think like that's a cool little touch point too when we're talking about repurposing, is when you're going to the AI, it's not that they're doing the work for you. You have to be smarter than the AI. And typically you are smarter than the AI when it comes to travel planning and specific travel experiences because you have the firsthand knowledge. You probably are also learned through the fam or through the experience about this. You've got to put that into the AI first so that the output that you get is a really rich output. So again, creating email series, being able to create presentations, repurposing blog posts into maybe like a video script if you wanted to do any YouTube marketing, or repurposing a blog post into short form vertical videos like Reels, Shorts, or TikToks as well. So all of this is capable and possible when you are using AI for marketing purposes within your travel agency.
All right. I think that's a great. I'm going to do my best to make notes of sort of best practices, but I think being specific is a really good one to start out with. And I know we're going to, our next sort of part of this episode is going to be heading through these tools, but Rita, I know you've been using AI and you've been using LLMs for a long time. I'm
Yeah.
curious, and I think this is a lot of child advisors have experienced this, but like your experience with those tools has gotten better as the tools have formed a
Oh yeah.
relationship with you, I guess is the best way to put it, and
Oh yeah.
have gotten to know you a bit better, right?
Yeah, I will say in the beginning, I was one of those that I'm like, I don't like, what is this for? I'm not going to use it. Like, why do I need something like this? And the more that you use it, really, the more it gets to know you. It is freaky sometimes when I ask it, like, I'm faltering in this area of my business. Why do you think that would be? And it spits out answers. And I'm like, how do you know me like that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the more information that you put into it, the more it's able to spit back. And like many other AI experts say, this today's version of AI is going to be the worst version it is. It's
Yeah.
just going to get better as time goes on.
Yeah, very scary thought to me, but I think one that we're just gonna have to deal with because I don't think we're slowing down for anything.
Right.
A couple questions in the chat. Yes, this is gonna be recorded, so we're gonna get you the recording later today or tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out for that. All right, so we spoke a little bit about sort of repurposing content, things like that. Now, I think this is going to be sort of the most powerful part of this is the specific tools
Mhm.
advisors can use in order to do this. I know a lot of them are familiar with some of these tools, Rita.
Yeah.
Like I know we're going to start with ChatGPT, but I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about each of these tools. Maybe walk us through some of the things that maybe you do or some of the things that your clients may do with these tools, how it saves people time and effort and things like that. And also just give us a little bit of the best practices for each one, if that's okay with
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, let's dig in. I've got my list ready. I know ChatGPT is probably the one that everybody knows. It's one of my favorite ones. It's kind of like when I need a lot of strategy, that's who I go to for that. But what's really cool also, and I know we're going to dive into this a little bit, is that you can do so much within ChatGPT now. 6 months ago, or I think it was a couple less, but when we were on TMP on the river, I was showing how to create graphics and to help promote your travel agency via graphics. And especially many of us, we don't come into this industry as a graphic designer.
Yeah.
So being able to just go into an AI, tell it this is the type of graphic that I need. A couple months ago, it did it. It didn't look great,
Yeah.
but it did it. And now they did an update pretty much like a week after the cruise of they were updating their how they compose graphics, and they look like chef's kiss beautiful. And I'm sure you've seen different graphics all over social media that are probably composed in that. So do we want to dive into that real quick? Because I know we can get into a couple different tools.
Yeah, we're gonna present all these tools, and I think all these are available in the free version because that's the first question already, Rita. And if they aren't, then we'll make note of that. But I also wanted to point out that we're gonna share. Rita, I'm gonna let you share your screen now to go through these one by one.
Yeah.
If you're having trouble seeing, going full screen is going to be your best way to see the screen. But other than that, I think hopefully this will be a good experience for everyone. Rita, if you want to sort of take it away, and share
Yeah.
it. Yeah, there you go.
Can you see it there? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So I like to be a little friendly with the AIs, because if they ever do go a little bit crazy in the future, at least hopefully they see me as a friend here. So, I'm going to position myself. So I am a travel advisor specializing in Caribbean cruises for burnt out executives. Please create a promotional graphic for me for let's see, let's go Mexico, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica cruise out of Miami for 7 days.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to add in here one of my favorite things to add. So I've given it pretty generic information so far. I mean, I've been very specific. I told it it's a Caribbean cruise. I told it who it's for. I was very specific in exactly what I needed and where it's going to go sailing. So I've given it tons of details. I will also ask it, and I typically do this a lot where I'm like, okay, I think I'm prompting it pretty well, but I'm not sure what else it needs to know. So I will go to complete this task. Do you need any other information from me?
Okay.
And then let's see. I know it'll take a little bit of time to start. Ooh, see,
Oh, so
look
it seems
there.
to want a lot of specifics.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. We'll say that this is Celebrity Cruises. Let's do Celebrity Beyond because I just sailed on the Beyond.
Okay.
We'll just make up. We're gonna go on my birthday next year.
Okay.
Pricing starts at let's do this 2,500 per cabin. I'm just making up things per balcony cabin. Let's do that because it wants that.
And Rita, before you can keep going, but you also mentioned before that you could just send it. Would you would be able to send it just a link to like the sailing, and would it be
Yes.
able to? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. If I had the exact sailing that I wanted, I could send the link and it'll start pulling things from there also.
Okay.
Let me see. I'm not going to add no logo. Preferred tone. Let's do preferred tone.
So this is a great point. Like
we
asking
can-
it what it needs from you, I think, is a really important point. Like you said,
Yeah.
get specific before, but I think a lot of people, particularly the people who are using these tools for the first time or one of their first times, asking it what you need from me is going to be an easy way for you to figure out what you should send it.
Exactly. And that's like a hidden tool in the arsenal of prompting it, because you may think you're putting in as much information. Like I didn't know that it was going to be so detailed that it needed like a hex code for me or that it could add a logo. We're always learning and fine tuning with AI. Now, because it is a better graphic generator, it does take a little bit of extra time. A lot of people might also know Canva, and Canva is one of my favorite tools. I know we were going to touch a little bit on Canva because Canva also does have AI that you can do this in also. So it can create graphics. I know I've created like YouTube thumbnails by saying like, hey, this is what I
Okay.
need
Yeah.
with the AI in Canva. But Canva's AI isn't, I'm going to say it, that it's for me not as great as the AI here in ChatGPT to create graphics.
Okay.
So that's kind of why I prefer this one. Now, I prefer Canva's AI though, because you're able to edit things a little bit easier. I know that Canva and, oh, here we go, it's coming. I know that Canva and ChatGPT have started somewhat of an integration because it should be as easy as like, okay, I need to fix something here in ChatGPT, send it over to my Canva account. So I know that that's like a work in progress, but you can kind of see where we're generating some information here. And this is just a straight promotional graphic. If you wanted to do a graphic promoting more of just your services, there's like different things that you can tweak here.
Yeah, and you could change the language if you want, right? If you just tell it specifically the language you want, or if you want to change the photo, which I mean, like it seems like they pulled that from, it had to be from Celebrity itself because I
Right.
assume that is the actual photo of a
It looks like a
Beyond.
celebrity ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, I'm actually going to say this is not my favorite image that ChatGPT has created. It's kind of created better images before. Because let me see. Can you create an image of a couple enjoying their time on this cruise experience? Because that promotional graphic, I'm like, ChatGPT, maybe it's because I told it to do like be slick and sleek and a little bit relaxed. So it looks very like sleek and relaxed here, but I'm like, ChatGPT, like really show us your graphic creation potential.
Um, and I know. Again, like it seems like you want to you want to keep refining it. What I assume, Rita, what you get at first is never something that you will stick with. Like you'll want to prompt it a
Yeah.
little further. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll always, unless you've prompted it like extremely well, which sometimes that has happened, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed. This is exactly what I wanted. You're not going to use the first time. Even if you do use like a second or a third draft, you're going to want to tweak it just a little bit because sometimes it doesn't get your wording correctly. The big thing now is that it uses a lot of M dashes. M dashes is something that I actually use when I'm
Yeah, I
communicating
use
with
M dashes
people.
pretty
So
pretty constantly too.
yeah.
So as that builds, Rita, we have a question from Linda. So I know Toby AI and Dolly is not on the list of tools we're going to use today, but do you
Yes.
have any like opinion about ease of use or ability of use of Toby and Dolly?
So Dolly, I think is actually what ChatGPT used to use, or maybe they've updated it to create graphics here in ChatGPT. So that's kind of what I know about Dolly. If you're wanting to do graphic creation, I would also look into Midjourney because I've heard that Midjourney graphics are even more top tier than Dolly. I feel like from what I've heard in the industry, Dolly is like a little bit more basic. And then Toby is an AI specifically created for the travel industry. And
Okay.
pretty much any travel advisor that I've spoken to that has used Toby just raves about it because the nice thing with Toby is that the people who have created or kind of trained the AI have trained it on all sorts of travel industry information. So whereas like using a chat GPT or a Claude, which is also one of my favorite AIs, is really great for kind of like general things, it's going to take some time to learn your specific travel industry items versus a Toby kind of already has like the fast pass. I like to use that fast pass analogy. It already knows that information. So you don't have to train it as much. You have to train it more on how you speak, how you think, and how you do things as well.
Okay. And there was another question again as this image is generating. Noreen asks about sort of Chat GPT being able to do the same thing as a CRM like Travefy might be able to do in the future. I guess my point of view on
Ooh,
this is I would look at it the other way. It seems like Travefy will incorporate
yeah.
what these large language models be able to do instead of
Yeah,
the other
because
way around. Yeah.
that, I mean, I am all for. I love that we have the Travefy Turn Travel Joys already out there so that you don't have to do your own coding. But that's something cool that is coming out with AI is this vibe coding. And so there's apps, I think ChatGPT just added it where you can code. Canva has an AI coding. And then there's this app called Lovable that's also AI
Lovable.
coding. So if you wanted to create your own CRM, technically you could, but again, I kind of err to the side like, is that where your resources are best spent? I feel kind of like if you're going to something that's already made that kind of works for you, then do that. It might be able to fill in some of the gaps that some of these CRMs might not do what you need them to do exactly. But yeah, that's kind of like the new this I feel like that's the new wild wild west when it comes to AI is now we have coding at our
Yeah.
capabilities and especially for us that don't code, that's like an amazing thing.
Yeah. So I see a lot of more questions coming in. I'll grab them as we go along, but I think the image finished generating.
This is an amazing image. I love this image. So we just said, can you create an image of a couple enjoying their time? And it's gotten like the balcony even correct. I've seen some version of this table on balconies before. They just look very relaxed. They do look like this premium cruise client. So I feel like if you wanted to add this to social media, and you do have to put like the disclaimer that this is an AI generated image, but I feel like this would be really great either on social media, on your website, if you're trying to put it like in a PDF to promote this type of group experience.
Yeah, and if
It's
you don't
gonna be
like it,
great.
you could always I know you could just keep prompting it until you get
Oh,
something
yeah.
you like.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I know it took like a minute or so for the image to render. I think though that time in the future probably be cut pretty significantly too.
Right.
Um, So there's one question, and I do want to just keep moving too, Rita. I want to get to
Yeah.
as many tools as we can. So if you want to pull up the next one, which I believe is going to be Gamma, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Talking
Uh,
about Gamma, while I get that up too, I know I briefly mentioned Claude, and Claude is very similar to a Chat GPT. Claude was built with a little bit more humanity to it. So that's kind of why I like Claude a little bit more when it comes to copywriting. So if I'm needing help like creating captions, writing blog posts, Claude is kind of like my best friend when it comes to that because it just tends to write things a little bit more human. So that's another one. It does have a free version and a paid version. Most of these AI tools are going to have that, a free version or a paid version. So you just have to keep that in mind also, because when you're on the free version, it'll still help you out a lot, but there'll be a cap to how much it can help. Like here, Gamma, we're going to create a presentation. So if you're trying to make almost like you're doing a master class or you're doing like a cruise night for your clients, this is going to help you to sell. And this will be done in a couple of minutes. You can
okay.
kind of see here, I can do up to 10 cards for free. So we're going to stick to that. I do want it presentation style, but you can also create web pages, documents, social. And this is really, you're just creating this by giving it some sort of a prompt here. So if we're going to go with, well, you can keep on this trend with, I am a travel advisor planning a retreat cruise for burnt out corporate executives. Will be sailing on the Celebrity Beyond on May 19, 2026 for 7 nights to the Western Caribbean. So I'm going to leave it at that just to help us save time too and see what it comes up with. It'll draw an outline really quick.
Okay.
So you can kind of see if there's anything that's not correct or that's not quite right or that you need to tweak. You can kind of do a couple of adjustments in this phase. But look at that. That was only a couple of seconds that it created this outline. And so each of these different cards is a different slide on the presentation. So you can see like the overview, why a cruise retreat, why this ship, why this itinerary. So let's go ahead. You can also pick different themes here. This is where the paid version kind of helps with Gamma because you're able to use like your own fonts, your own style, your own branding. But we're just going to go with this top one that it selected here. I like it to be concise. I don't need it to be like minimal, but I also don't need the presentation to be detailed or extensive. I'm okay with it using AI images, and you can replace some of the images that are there. And we're just going to go just with the basic model here. So let's generate that and see what it comes up with. But this is really, really nifty for those of us who are graphically challenged. You can see in a matter of minutes, it's going to create this whole beautiful presentation that, for the most part, with limited editing, you could go ahead and start presenting to a corporate group and start selling that immediately.
Okay, so as that's generating, we'll do our best to maybe grab a couple of these questions. Edna wants to know about putting your logo on, I guess, both with chat, with the images we were generating in chat, and then I guess even with any of these, is that possible to give them your logo and then place it either on these slides or like on the graphics previously?
Yeah, it was prompting me to upload a logo. I just didn't have a logo ready. So, but
Okay.
yeah, it was asking me to put the logo there. And then it also asked me like for the hex code. So, which was really neat, which I loved because you couldn't do that before. So, I'm loving that it's like giving you all these different options to tailor what your graphics and what your presentation can look like. Because here, you can see the presentation's already done. It might not be exactly perfect. Like this is not a celebrity ship. So it's not like ChatGPT that automatically picked a celebrity ship. So, but you can go in here and just do some more editing with all these different options, because you can replace even this image that's here. So you can edit the image, you can remove the image, you can fix what the card color is. So there's a lot of different options that are here, because I might put a logo right here to begin with, or even like in that background.
And you can just replace it with a photo from celebrity as well, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Royal Caribbean Group has a really great image library that's really helpful. But you can see, like, you didn't even have to put any of this copy in here. If something's not correct, or if something's not the way that you need it to be worded, you can always edit all of this. I like how it did write Celebrity Beyond on this ship, but that's not what the Beyond looks like. So it is interesting, but it does have all of these stats that you didn't have to pull. It already pulled it from online, especially like that architectural design. That's pretty nifty.
Yeah, I will say just be careful with the photos when you are,
Yeah.
if you are like, you have to give this a proofread. Like, consider yourself its editor, I guess, because they are
Yeah.
gonna do that with the photos. It feels like mostly.
Yeah, and also when you're pulling photos, make sure that you have the right um, licenses to be able to use the photos for your presentations and all that. Because I know our friend Angela Hughes recently had like this big post about something happening. Somebody used an image that they thought was licensable, but it wasn't. So she has a really great post on that too. Making sure that you're using images that you're able to. So don't pull anything just off Google. There's websites called like Pexels, Unsplash,
Yeah.
and there's a couple other ones that you can get licenses for free or for low cost.
Yeah, and I know suppliers are really good with making like images available for marketing for advisors as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but you could see this too, like if you are selling corporate retreats, it's got like all the benefits about why a corporate retreat would be super beneficial. So this should be like a really great slide deck, at least with the copy. Again, like these shows, this gym and all that, probably not what exactly is on board. So you definitely want to tweak what the images are, but it gives you a really great starting point instead of having to start from zero or going to a Canva template and you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to put in here. You've got, and then the
Um,
last slide here, your call to action.
yeah, and just like with the photos, you can edit the text too, I
Yeah.
assume, right, Rita? All right.
Yes.
All right, so you mentioned Canva, and again, I know these are sort of short introductions to all these programs, so I don't want to get I want to just sort of intro each of these. So I know there's a lot of questions for each of these specifically, but we're gonna do our best to get as much intro as we can for as many as we can. Canva seems to be something advisors are really fond of.
Yes.
Not just with AI, but previously creating marketing things like that. I know it like sort of came on the scene pretty heavily over the last 5 years or so since COVID.
Yep.
Let's talk about Canva and artificial intelligence, like what kind of things are available there, and then what advisors maybe should consider using Canva's AI for.
Yeah, because Canva can do actually the same things that we just experienced with ChatGPT and with Gamma. So you can create your own
Okay.
graphics. You can also create your own presentations. I don't think it's as hefty as these other programs are, but if you already have Canva or if you already pay for Canva, it doesn't hurt to try and test these other things out to see like how they would compare for yourself. Like I said, like I was able to use the AI and I said, I need a YouTube thumbnail for this. And with just like a small couple tweaks for me to edit afterwards, I was like, that took me maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes to create. So it just saves so much time to be able to use these tools, especially if you're if you don't have an extensive or any graphic creation background, but you can create flyers, you can create business cards. You can print your business cards off of Canva now, and it's really affordable because we were just checking that out with a couple travel advisors a couple days ago.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's try to get Canva up. I see a lot of questions in the chat too.
Ooh,
And
okay.
hopefully we're trying to multitask as best we can. But there's a go. So yeah, there's some really good questions, and this one from Linda, I think is just interesting. Rita, I think it's just about prompting AI.
Yeah.
So Linda asked, should you tell the AI how to act, such as I am a social media strategist or you are a social media strategist? Will that make a difference in the copy or the strategy? That seems like a pretty significant piece of information to give them, because it seems like whatever AI you're using will want to know that in order to serve
Correct.
it.
So I use AI a lot for repurposing, and I use Claude for my repurposing. So I put out a new podcast episode every single Friday. I will actually run that through another AI called Cast Magic. It will transcribe that, and then it will also give me different content pieces. Cast Magic was having a couple of issues like a couple months ago. So I was like, I didn't feel comfortable like really promoting it. So I started using the transcript and putting it into Claude and prompting Claude out with that. Because I think I have my podcasting prompts here that I can show you like the amount of detail that I put into some of my prompts.
Okay.
So, I just start out very simple with just using the transcript to create a title, create a summary for this. But then when it comes down to like this LinkedIn newsletter, it has all the information previously from this conversation that we're having, but I am very detailed when I say with each point, can you write me and can you see this? It's a hold on, let me see.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So then
Can you see this one
you're on the
now?
Google. Yeah, you're on the Google
Yes.
Doc now.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Um, so I'm very detailed when I say like can with each main point, I need a 5 to 7 sentence summary including any action steps. I need it written in first person. You need to be very detailed when it comes to AI because it likes to be very creative, and it might start off like a post with welcome to this and that, and I'm like, I don't need you to welcome anybody. I just need you to write the caption for me. So I include like I need an introduction, I need a conclusion. Please don't include in this episode, oh, welcome is not needed. Please also don't include this information, a conclusion, and you should write this information in the conclusion. Must be written in this type of tone. I tend to be these ways. And I've asked AI, I'm like, when you see my writing, when you see my conversations, what do I sound like? And so that's how I've been able to kind of like nail in and hone that information. And then also to be concise because AI again likes to be very wordy.
Yeah.
So you could see like this is not just 2 sentences, 3 sentences. This is a chunky prompt that's here. I will also use the same prompts to like repurpose for social media. And then I have this next beefy prompt here for writing a blog post and writing a blog post based on all the things that I need, like my keywords, the keywords that needs to be in the headers, where they need to be, how often I need them to be. And I do a lot of research in order to kind of like beef up this prompt. So there's a lot of things that I'll repurpose in this prompt, but you can kind of see like it's not just 3 to 5 sentences. It's very detailed so that the output that I get is exactly what I need it to be.
Okay. All right. All right. So I'm keeping a list. Saw a question in the chat. I'm keeping a list of everything we mentioned today, but I do want to get to Canva.
Yes, let me
Rita,
go
because I
back to
do. There was
Canva.
already a few questions about it. In the chat as well.
Let's go back to Canva.
Catherine, I do know that just as AI is getting better for everybody else, AI is also getting better at detecting when content not properly licensed is stolen. So I would just be careful with any photos that aren't properly licensed by yourself, as we deal with this.
I'm just prompting it. We're gonna keep the same thing going. Specializing in retreats for burnt out executives. We're cruising on the celebrity beyond in May 2026 to the Western Caribbean. And I need you to create a beautiful sales presentation for me. All right. And then you can always, especially in Canva, the nice thing is that you can always prompt it what else that you need. It's not just presentations, you can do graphics, you can do flyers and things and have the AI create that for you. The nice thing with Canva though is it gives you a couple of different options, especially if you're just looking for graphics. So you can see
Um,
here, it gives a couple different options. So you can go with the blue, the brown option. So you can kind of pick like which mood is a little bit more you and your brand. And then you can also like repurpose this in your brand. So once we go to edit, you can fix whatever colors. So if these aren't really your brand, or if you have your brand already in there, we can go ahead and use Canva editor. It gave 7 slides for this. So you can see, actually, I'm going to say that Canva is giving Gamma a run for its money because this still looks like a really good presentation.
Yeah, and I do like again, I know it's not incredibly easy to see, but that looks like the Celebrity Beyond, and I might be wrong, but I guess
Yes.
from my eyes, yeah.
Yeah. I think this is Celebrity Eclipse from what I read over
Okay.
here.
Okay.
But yeah,
Um
this looks really great, and you can, when if you're working in Canva, you could see you can adjust your background colors and then change all, and now you've got more like branded materials to whatever your colors might be.
okay. What else would you recommend Canva for aside from presentations, Rita? Like I know we went to chat
Mhm.
initially for the marketing flyer, something like that. Is that something Canva's able to do as well?
Yeah, you can. If we go back, so if you go to Canva AI, it will give you different options. So you can design. So if you want something like created in the way that you want it, create an image, draft a document, coding, here we got it here, or create a video clip. So I'm typically going to the design for me. And then if you go to social media, you can put in exactly what you need. So if you need like a Pinterest pin, if you need the Instagram post, a really cool thing that they did this year in Canva too is if you're working, let's say you're just working on Instagram post, but you want to repurpose that as like a Pinterest pin or a YouTube thumbnail, you can do that all in the same file now. Instead of having to make 3 separate files, you can have multiple formats. So they're really expanding on what you can do in here, but you can see like there's a lot of different types of posts that you can ask it to make for you. If you're wanting to do like just marketing, so you can create the infographic and create a flyer if you're needing to create business cards in here. So I love that there's lots of different things, even if you need to create a logo. But yeah, there's a lot of different items that we can go in here for.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this is incredible. And so again, just to reiterate, you can do more than if you wanted something in different formats, Canva AI could do that at the same time.
Correct. Yeah. Because they even did something called like Canvas Sheets, which is like Google Sheets, but it's easy to kind of like repurpose the information easier in that sheets. There's a lot to dive
Okay.
in when we go to Canva, but I feel like that's like that needs to be one of your BFFs if it's already it isn't in your arsenal of tools to be using for your travel agency.
All right. All right. So chat, we did Gamma, we did a little bit of Claude, we did Canva. I know we don't have a ton of time left, Rita, but what is I know we have a few more we want to get to, but is there one in particular that you think would be good to share? Or is like one in particular that you think we should go to next while we still
Yeah.
have 10 minutes or so?
And we might not share this on camera, but I
Okay.
definitely think something to repurpose video content. So I know many people will do like a horizontal video. The horizontal video, if you're trying to make a vertical video like a reel, TikTok, or short, that does not look good if it's got the black boxes on the top or the bottom. So there are amazing AIs. Opus Clip is one, Video is another one. They do have free and low cost paid versions where you
Okay.
can just put in the video. It will pick out the best clips from the video. So let's say you're already doing YouTube content, you've done an interview with somebody, you want to repurpose it that way. it will create all these different clips for you with the captions on it, and you can format the captions anyway, and then just upload those to social media so you also have social media. Again, like maximizing what you're using this content for. If you already are using things like Descript and StreamYard, they have this AI technology built inside of it so that you can repurpose. So if you are going live on your social media channels, that helps a lot. The other one that I like to mention is Cast Magic, because it doesn't repurpose video in the traditional way. Cast Magic, like I mentioned, I use it for podcasting, but many of you might be using something to repurpose your videos into blog posts or into like written words, or if you need it repurposed into like copy that you need to add to a PDF or a flyer. Cast Magic is really great for that. It's also really great for if you wanted to transcribe your consult calls and be able to retain the information from those calls that way, or kind of pull out frequently asked questions from your calls and create blog posts based on that. So you can see, like, I've got like tons of different ideas on
Yeah.
how you can like go start in one place and then create like 5 different pieces of content from there.
Yeah, I'm doing my best to keep up, Rita. So because we have a couple questions about what specific video tools as we go along now. So I know
Yeah.
Descript. I dropped that in the chat too. The next one was Cast Magic. I dropped that in the chat as well. I don't think you mentioned any other ones specifically, did you? I know you mentioned
Um,
StreamYard, but that seems like more of
StreamYard,
a there's
and
an AI
then
component to StreamYard, which we're actually on StreamYard
correct.
right now.
Yeah,
And we used it too. So it's helpful to broadcast if you're doing but then StreamYard will give you the option to cut the video up with
exactly.
AI and add captions. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then if you already have, like, recorded horizontal video that you wanna make into vertical video, Opus Clip, OPUS Clip, and Video, VIDYO, are 2 ones that have free and paid versions that you just upload a video that you might already have, and then it'll cut it up into lots of different clips for you too.
Okay. All right. All right. It seems like I mean it seems like a lot of people a lot of the watchers right now are interested in video content. Which I
Mhm.
thought it seemed to me the
Cool.
chat and the Canva would be the most powerful, but everyone seems really excited about the video suggestions too.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting
Yeah.
because video really is one of the top things. Like Instagram, if you're not creating reels or making carousels, you're kind of being lost in the shuffle now because those are the 2 top contents on that platform.
So I starred a bunch of comments. I'm not sure if we have time to get to a whole new tool, but I think some of
Okay.
these comments or some of these questions have been pretty good. Ann Lopez wants to know at the end of the presentation, can you make a list of AI companies? I have a list I'm running right now. When we
Ooh,
send out the video link tomorrow, I'm going to do my best to get those and the links to the websites in the description for you. So just keep an eye out for the video, for the email tomorrow morning, and we're going to do our best to get you those. Nona, I guess, and I know a lot of consortia are, um, sorry, know a lot of consortia are training their members, and a lot of hosts
mhm,
are training their members on AI. I'm curious,
yeah.
Rita, for this one, is Claude, in your experience, do you recommend Claude for writing copy?
I agree. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one that I'm using for a lot of repurposing. It just sounds more human. Now I feel like ChatGPT it's starting to gain there, but I feel like ChatGPT I use like as my strategy, my brain dump, my I have this idea, what do you think about this idea? And Claude is usually what I'll use more for like writing sales pages, writing any sort of copy and repurposing content.
Okay. All right. I have two more, and then I'll jump back in the chat and see if there's any more. And then before we wrap up, this one's like a specific question, but it might be something people are coming across. So Yolanda says I was using Canva the other day to make a program for my daughter's musical. It kept telling me that I was not following their policy. Is it because they named the musical? Because I know we just did the celebrity prompt, and it seemed to have no issues with the celebrities copyright stuff.
Interesting. I've not had that issue come up before. Is it saying like their copyright policy?
I'm not sure, but it seems like I guess in this situation, are you able to ask it? Like, could you prompt it? Like, tell me specifically what I'm doing wrong. Like, would that help?
I would. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely would ask it. I would also there is like a little help button with Canva to see like what you might be violating that they notice. That Laura just put something about Disney, and I was like, I know certain things are very specific when it comes to
Yeah.
licensing, so it could be that issue as well.
Yeah, I can I imagine the big corporations are very much aware of their copyright being used like this and people the companies with the big teams of lawyers I feel like are
Right.
are on top of
Right.
this. All right. And this one I think is the most interesting question. This is from Jackie. Are all these subscription platforms that you pay for them to demonstrate for us, and should try to be selective? So I guess I know a lot of these aren't subscriptions, but I assume,
Yeah.
Rita, you do pay for some of the pro tools or some of the subscriptions for these. I'm curious if you could tell us what ones you think are really worth it.
Yeah, so I pay for ChatGPT and I paid for Claude just because I'm in them so often that I hate getting the you are ran out of credits, come back tomorrow. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. So it's worth it for me to pay the $20 a month because they're each $20 a month. And I use them both for such different things that it's worth it for me to pay for those. I'm also on the paid version of Canva because again, that's another tool that I'm in and out on the daily, if not the weekly. Um, Gamma, I don't pay for. So, and Gamma's one of those that I know it's an amazing tool, but I haven't figured out like how robust it is or how to make it as robust as I want to. Like, I think it's great as a trial and error and I think it's great for like basic things, but I want things to be a little bit more branded to me. And so
Yeah.
I just haven't made the leap yet. Cast Magic, I actually was in the ground floor when Cast Magic came out. So I think it's only available on the paid version, but I was able to get like
Okay.
a lifetime offer. So, and
Okay.
they're always like having different promos that come out. So I might wait for a promo for that also. Um,
Yeah, so I just have one question, Rita, and then I want to wrap up. We have Amory ask about Perplexity. Is that something you're familiar with?
Ooh, yes. I like Perplexity. Like if I need a specific answer, that's where I go to Perplexity. Because I know if you're going to like a normal search engine like a Google, it can come up with lots of different answers. But and Google is getting better because of Gemini, which is their AI. But Perplexity kind of like immediately, like you ask, like, where can I find retreat centers in Florida or whatever it might be, it will give you the list. It will say why they're best. It will also like give you the links for where you can find the information so that you can also verify the information that it's brought out.
Okay.
So I do use Perplexity on occasion, but I use the free version for that one.
Okay. All right. I just have a question, Rita. Like you're obviously very in tune with all these products and or very up to date. I know a lot of advisors who have come this are going to be trying to keep up to date. I know this is we're very much in the beginning stages of artificial intelligence and how you can use it in your daily life, your professional, your personal life. How do you keep up with all this? Like, how do you go about making sure you know about Perplexity, you know about Descript, things like this? How are you keeping up with it? And just so we can sort of share that maybe philosophy with everyone on the call with us right now.
Yeah, I am really just making sure that I use the tools. I feel like it's on a very often basis now that when you go into the tool, they're like, hey, we have an update. And you're like, okay, what's this update? Because I know ChatGPT and Claude recently came out like with deep research features, which I feel are similar to Perplexity, but they take their time to really research something so that it gives you the best answer. So, one, it's just using the tools and seeing what new is coming out. I do listen in on some AI podcasts. So I think it's AI Unplugged is the one that I listen to most often. I don't listen to it weekly or all the time, but I'm also just following a lot of different people, whether that's on LinkedIn or on
Yeah.
Instagram, and just picking and choosing because there's so much information that's out there. It's like, what's going to be the most relevant information for myself?
Yeah.
So being sure that you are also picky and choosy, and it's not like, oh my gosh, I've been inundated in the world of AI.
I know. It also, I think there's also a component of not being afraid to try things out, not being discouraged when it's not working
Exactly.
for you. But like being very much open to this because again, this is the world's kind of changing pretty significantly with this. So it seems like
Oh yeah.
not being afraid, being brave is going to be a good point for everyone. Um, Alita says so much detail, so much information. She just says thank you. And I just want to echo that. Rita, thank you so much. I know this has been a quick one. I know we've been on a lot of tools in and out, but thank you so much for your knowledge. We really do appreciate you joining us here today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Where can people find you, Rita, if they want to keep in touch or sort of hear from you in the future?
Yeah, so the easiest thing would be to subscribe to the podcast, Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. I have new podcast episodes coming out every Friday. And then I am most active on Instagram. So Take the Helm VBS on Instagram. And then LinkedIn, it's Rita Perez 19.
Okay.
So we can meet over there and just chat along.
All right, and I know a lot of people are going to want to rewatch this. We're going to get that link to you probably tomorrow morning, so keep an eye out for that. I'll get you a list of the tools you mentioned today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I know in the middle of the summer, it's a weird time to jump on a Zoom call, but I really appreciate it. I really love doing these. I'm really happy to have Rita. I'm hoping to see everyone in a couple of weeks, but until then, please stay healthy, stay safe, and yeah, we'll see you soon.